Hi guys, it's Angie Bell with my fairy treasures. Okay, you guys, I'm coming at you today with a video on how to purl English style. So, let's begin. Well, let's begin with this. I'm using a size 15 knitting needle. This is what I suggest because if you're new to knitting and you're new to if you're new to knitting, I would use size 15 with some chunky yarn, like a size 5 chunky yarn, which is this. This is a size 5. Okay? Or you can do a size 6. And I will use a size 15 knitting needle because it's just going to be easier for you to see where you need to put the yarn, the hole that you need to put the yarn in. You're just going to see everything a lot better. And these ones are clovers, and I got them at either Joann's or Michael's, I can't remember. And also getting wooden or bamboo needles, okay? Because when you use the metal, or you can use plastic too. Plastic's good too, but I like the bamboo or wood needles the best. If you get the metal, easily your stitches can slip off. I've been knitting going on 7 years, 6-7 years, and I still don't knit with metal needles. Okay, so let's get started. Let me show you how to purl English style. So I'm going to go ahead and cast on, do a little slip knot, okay? So there's your slip knot. Let me show you again in case you don't know what a slip knot is. Go like that, and pull it through, and there's a slip knot, okay? And then you're going to put your needle through, okay? Now, when you tighten this down, do not tighten it all the way tight to the needle. Leave a little space, okay? Because we're going to cast on now, and you want to leave a little, you want to cast on loosely, okay? Not on tight. See how there's a little bit of space right there? That's good. Now this is a tail. Leave that tail alone. You're going to cast on with the yarn from your ball. Okay, so here's the ball here. I should have got my yarn bowl and put that in there so that doesn't go falling anywhere. Anyway, so first we need to cast on some stitches. So let's cast on 10 stitches. You know, let me just bring this up a little bit. All right, hopefully you guys can still see me good. Okay, I think so. So we're going to cast on, oh, what am I doing? Okay, here we go. Sorry. Put your knitting needles in your right hand, and this is how we're going to cast on, in case you've never cast it on before. So you go, I hold my yarn like this, and then this goes through, and like that, bam. There's 2, there's 3, there's 4, there's 5, there's 6, there's 7, there's 8, there's 9, and there's 10. Let's do 5 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So there's 15. We just cast it on 15 stitches. That should be enough stitches to show you how to purl. All right, let me get some yarn out here off my ball. There we go. So I have some yarn to knit with. Okay, so when you start knitting, whether you're purling or whether anytime you're knitting, you always want to start off with the yarn that you cast it on, and the working yarn, which is the ball of yarn, in your left hand, okay? And then the other needles here, even if you're using interchangeable or fixed needles, okay? And we'll go over that, interchangeable and fixed, in another video. Okay, so when you purl, you always want your yarn to be in front of you, okay? In front of your hand, okay? So we need to start with it like that. So bring your yarn forward, okay? And then when you purl, you're going to, I'm going to call it stabbing, even though I can't think of a better word, but anyway, you want to take it and you want to stab. So here's your first stitch. And I pulled my stitch up just a little bit so you guys can see it, okay? You want to stab going towards you, okay? Then you want to take your yarn and you want to wrap it around like that. And then you want to bring it through the bag, okay? So the yarn is always, it always stays in the front, okay, of you. And front means here, not back here, okay? So let's just do it again. So stab it coming towards you. Now, when you first start, sometimes it's hard to get your needle in, so loosen up the thread a little bit. Just loosen it up a little bit so you can get your needle in there. There we go again, okay? And then wrap it around. And then you want to bring it through the back like that, and then off your needle. Okay, let's see if I can bring this down a little bit. There we go. Okay, so again, you want to stab towards you. And again, if it's a little bit hard to get your needle through, just loosen that up a little bit so you can get your needle in. Okay, and stab it towards you. Take your yarn, wrap it around. And then you want to bring this through the back like this, and then off. Now, when you first start purling, you should now know how to do the basic knit stitch, which is the garter stitch. When you purl, it's almost like you're doing the opposite, and it will feel awkward, okay? So just keep practicing purling, and the more you do it, the more natural it will be, okay? And this first row is always the most awkward row because everything's so loosey-goosey. That's what I call it. Okay, everything's so loose. So, oh, sorry, I just hit my camera. Sorry about that. God, I had it just where I wanted it too. Okay, sorry about that. Again, everything's so loosey-goosey. So after the after you get this first row done, it's so much nicer. Okay, there we go. And so that's why the stitches can be a little bit hard, even though we cast it on loosely. The stitches, it can still be hard to get your needle in at first. Not because it's tight, it's just weird. It's just the way it is at first. Okay, so stab towards yourself, over, and then come out the back way. Okay. Move your stitches up again. And sometimes what I like to do, whether I'm knitting or whether I'm purling, I like to take that first stitch and go up with it like that. And that just helps me get my needle in there too. So stab towards you, right? Wrap around. And then do the back. Okay. I almost bring my yarn back every time because when you knit and purl, you have to take your yarn and put it back. Anyway, I don't want to confuse you right now. Because right now we're just purling. So stab towards you, right? And then wrap it around. Okay. I lift up that yarn up just a little bit to get my needle in there. Stab towards you. Wrap it around. Come out the back, bam, okay? Again, lift that yarn up just a little bit, stab towards you, wrap it around, come out to the back, okay? Move your stitches up a little bit, okay? Lift that yarn up a little bit, stab towards you, okay? And wrap it around. Come out through the back, see? And then let that drop off. Lift that up a little bit, that yarn. Stab towards you, okay? Hold everything with your thumb. See how I'm holding that so nothing's gonna fall, right? And then wrap it around, come out that back way, and let it fall off. Lift up the yarn, stab. Okay, sometimes, like I said, when you first start, everything is a little bit awkward. Okay, stab towards you. Hold with your thumb so that everything stays nice and still, and go around. Come out the back way and let that stitch drop off. Okay, and then again, stab towards you, wrap around, come out the back way, and there we go. Okay, so we're going to do another round. So remember, when we start, you always start with start with the yarn that's on your needles, connected to the ball in your left hand. Okay, again, make sure your yarn is in front, okay, not behind. This is behind if you're going to do it behind, but we want to have it in the front of you. Okay, make sure you stab that, stab towards you. Sorry, stab towards you, bring the yarn around, and what am I doing? Just a second, people, just a second. Okay, I think I got it now. Okay, so stab towards you. There we go. All right, what is my difficulty here? Bring it around. Bring it out. All right, just one second. Let me pause this for a second, guys. All right, you guys, sorry about that. I had to work some things out in my own brain. Sorry about that. The yarn is already in the front because that's how we've been doing it, okay? So we're fine. So the yarn's in the front already here. So stab towards you, okay? Yarn over and come out through the back, okay? My yarn was already in front of me. I just twisted it weird when I was doing it. I'm not used to going this slow, so that's probably what got me kind of messed up. Sorry. Okay, so again, stab towards you, right? Hold on with your thumb, wrap it around. I just started doing tutorials with knitting. And so I've never taught knitting before. This is my second tutorial now. And so I don't really think about these things. I just do them, you know, at this point. But now when you do a tutorial, you have to explain what you're doing, you know. So anyway. Okay. Bring your yarn up. So again, bring that here. Stab towards yourself. Wrap the yarn around. Out through the back. See? And pull it off. Again. Stab towards you. Hold on to that yarn with the thumb. Wrap around. And out from the back and off the needle. And don't, see this yarn right here? Do not knit with that. Make sure you always have that yarn just sitting there. That's your tail. Okay, so again, yarn up. Stab towards you. Around. And then come out through the back. Okay, let's do it again. We're just going to do it to all these stitches. Okay, I think it's just really helpful, especially when you first start knitting, that and you're learning this kind of stuff, that someone shows you close and shows you slowly so that you can really see it. And do it quite a few times, like over and over and over. Because I know when I first started learning, I wanted to see it like 20 million times. I was like, do that again. Do that again. And then I'd like, get closer so I can see. Also, another important thing is make sure you use a size 15 knitting needle and use some 5-weight yarn. And then that way, you're going to really be able to see where you're going. So see, if you use really small needles, it's a lot harder to see where you're going. So you lift this yarn up, right? And now look, there's a little, right when I lift that yarn up, look, there's a little hole right there so that I can go in, right, towards me. And out through the back. Okay, let's do it again. A few more times. Stab toward me, yarn around, and out through the back. Again, take your knitting needle, stab towards you, right? Wrap the yarn around, and out through the back. Again, stab towards you, wrap the yarn around, and out through the back. Last time, stab towards you. Okay, there we go. Stab towards you, right? Wrap around and yarn through the back. And that's how you purl, okay? It was so weird purling because with like this, because I'm so used to like in patterns, a lot of times you won't just straight purl. A lot of times you may purl a lot, like just purl, straight purl, but a lot of times you knit and you purl, you knit and you purl. So it's weird not bringing my yarn back around to the back and then to the front, to the back, to the front. Anyway, so that's how you purl. So what I would do is make sure that you can get these at Michael's or at Joann's. A size 15 knitting needle. This is a nice little size. They're not the super long needles either. So these are great. So they're size 15. They're clover. They're bamboo. And I think they have them at Michael's and at Joann's. I know at Michael's they have them because they carry clover at Michael's. They might have them at Joann's also. Then make sure you get yourself some size 5 chunky yarn or size 6. I would get a 5. That's going to be, I think, the easiest for you to work with. A size 5 chunky yarn. And that's all you need, and practice. And so I know that purling can be awkward because it's really the opposite of the basic knit stitch, which is garter. But just keep practicing and keep practicing. Do exactly what I did. Load on 10, 15 stitches and just practice. And the other thing I want to tell you is make sure that when you first start that your yarn is in front like that. Just make sure you just take your yarn and go like that and then start. Okay? So I hope this is helpful, learning how to purl, and just practice, you guys. Practice makes perfect. All right, you guys, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, I'd love for you to do so. If you can give this video a thumbs up, any comments or questions, leave them below. Come visit me on Facebook and Instagram. I have a group called Our Magical Little Place, and we have everyone in there, people who are doing, come and post any of your work that you make. We have mixed media people in there, junk journalers, knitters, crocheters. Everyone's just sharing their wares. It's really cool. I go live every Wednesday. Evening at 5 o'clock. It's called Angie's Knit and Crochet Night. And it's a lot of fun. I invite people up on the panel and we just talk and have fun and knit and crochet. Okay, and then I go live again on Fridays. And that's called Angie's Yarn Party. It's at 11 o'clock a.m. Pacific time. And that one is a little more structured, but it's still a big party up in there. And it's so much fun. We talk about knitting, crocheting. We're having a knit along. So a knit and crochet along. So come join. Then I have I go live again on Saturdays. It's called Angie's Art Party. And I'm usually doing some type of mixed media. But everybody's welcome to any of my lives. So in any of my knitting lives, knitting and crochet lives, or my mixed media lives, I have knitters and crocheters and mixed media people and crafters in all 3 of them. So everyone's welcome to any of the lives, okay? All right. That is it for this one. I will talk to you guys in the next video.